Unite to win, divide to conquer. The final key to the way I promote is bravado. I play to people's fantasies. People may not always think big themselves, but they can get very excited by those who do. That is why a little hyperbole never hurts. People want to believe that something is the biggest, the greatest, and the most spectacular. It's a blip, not a catastrophe. The point is that if you are a little different or a little outrageous, or if you do things that are bold or controversial, the press is going to write about you. Leverage, don't make deals without it. Enhance. When people are in a focused state, the words "I can't," "I'll try," "I'll do it tomorrow," and maybe get forced out of their vocabularies. I like thinking big. I always have. To me, it's very simple. If you're going to be thinking anyway, you might as well think big. Most people think small because most people are afraid of success, afraid of making decisions, afraid of winning, and that gives people like me a great advantage. The worst things in history have happened when people stop thinking for themselves and listen to other people, and even worse, start following other people. That's what gives rise to dictators. A government big enough to give you everything you want is a government big enough to take from you everything you have. Because much more often than you think, sheer persistence is the difference between success and failure. Money was never a big motivation for me, except as a way to keep score. The real excitement is playing the game. The most important thing in life is to love what you're doing, because that's the only way you'll ever be really good at it. Partnerships must have loyalty and integrity at their core. Rules are meant to be broken. Contrary to what a lot of people think, I don't enjoy doing press. I've been asked the same questions a million times now, and I don't particularly like talking about my personal life. Most people think small because they are afraid of success, afraid of making decisions, afraid of winning. Do not spend too much time planning or trying to anticipate and solve problems before they happen. That is just another kind of excuse for procrastination. Until you start, you won't know where the problems will occur. You won't have the experience to solve them. Instead, get into action and solve the problems as they arise. Living your words, walking your talk, and talking your walk. Luck does not come around often, so when it does, be sure to take full advantage of it, even if it means working very hard. When luck is on your side, it is not the time to be modest or timid. It is the time to go for the biggest success you can possibly achieve. That is the true meaning of thinking big. Albert Einstein said, "The mind that opens to a new idea never comes back to its original size." Criticism is easier to take when you realize that the only people who aren't criticized are those who don't take risks. A great leader has to be flexible, holding his ground on the major principles, but finding room for compromises that can bring people together. Watch, listen, and learn. You can't know it all yourself. Anyone who thinks they do is destined for mediocrity. As an entrepreneur, I choose my teachers carefully, very carefully. I am extremely cautious of the people with whom I spend my time and to whom I listen. Think big. You are going to be thinking anyway, so think big. Get going, move forward, aim high, plan to take off. Don't just sit on the runway and hope someone will come along and push the airplane. It simply won't happen. Change your attitude and gain some altitude. Believe me, you'll love it up here. Show me someone without an ego, and I'll show you a loser. When you are wrong repeatedly, the worst thing you can do is continue taking it, fight back. What separates the winners from the losers is how a person reacts to each new twist of fate. Doesn't hurt to get more education. Sometimes your best investments are the ones you don't make. What's the point of having great knowledge and keeping them all to yourself? I tried to learn from the past, but I plan for the future by focusing exclusively on the present. That's where the fun is. Anyone who thinks my story is anywhere near over is sadly mistaken. I've read hundreds of books about China over the decades. I know the Chinese. I've made a lot of money with the Chinese. I understand the Chinese mind. One of the problems when you become successful is that jealousy and envy inevitably follow. There are people who categorize them as life's losers who get their sense of accomplishment and achievement from trying to stop others. As far as I'm concerned, if they had any real ability, they wouldn't be fighting me. They'd be doing something constructive themselves. Remember, there's no such thing as an unrealistic goal, just unrealistic time frames. Don't get sidetracked. If you do get sidetracked, get back on track as soon as possible. Ultimately, sidetracking kills you. I've always felt that a lot of modern art is a con, and that the most successful painters are often better salesmen and promoters than their artists. I discovered, for the first time but not the last, that politicians don't care too much what things cost. It's not their money. And if it can't be fun, what's the point? Good publicity is preferable to bad. Hit from a bottom line perspective, bad publicity is sometimes better than no publicity at all. Controversy is short sells. My style of deal making is quite simple and straightforward. I aim very high, and then I just keep pushing and pushing and pushing to get what I'm after. Everything in life is luck. My people keep telling me I shouldn't write letters like this to critics. The way I see it, critics get to say what they want to about my work. So why shouldn't I be able to say what I want to about theirs? I don't hire a lot of number crunchers, and I don't trust fancy marketing surveys. I do my own surveys and draw my own conclusions. Success comes from failure, not from memorizing the right answers. There's an old German proverb to the effect that fear makes the wolf bigger than he is, and that is true. My motto is always get even. When somebody screws you, screw them back in spades. I like to think of the word focus as follow one course until successful. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the ability to act effectively in spite of fear. A brand is to words the promise you telegraph and the experience you deliver. Had some beautiful pictures taken in which I had a big smile on my face. I looked happy, I looked content, I looked like a very nice person, which in theory I am. A tiny leak can sink a ship. Entrepreneurs are always taking feedback, especially from their customers, bankers, workers, and sales force. Without straightforward feedback, entrepreneurs cannot make sound decisions. Perhaps, because my father never got a college degree himself, he continued to view people who had won with a respect that bordered on awe. In most cases, they didn't deserve it. My father could run circles around most academics, and he would have done very well in college if he'd been able to go. I have a very simple rule when it comes to management. Hire the best people from your competitors, pay them more than they were earning, and give them bonuses and incentives based on their performance. That's how you build a first-class operation. Building a brand may be more important than building a business. You do your job, you keep your job, do it well, you get a better job. The worst of times often create the best opportunities to make good deals. That experience taught me a few things. One is to listen to your gut, no matter how good something sounds on paper. The second is that you're generally better off sticking with what you know. And the third is that sometimes your best investments are the ones you don't make, because every time I speak of the haters and losers, I do so with great love and affection. They cannot help the fact that they were born fucked up. I've never been terribly interested in why people give, because their motivation is rarely what it seems to be, and it's almost never true altruism. The more predictable the business, the more valuable it is. The biggest little thing for entrepreneurs is the lifelong commitment to education. It is easier to ask for money when you don't need the money. Learn something new every day. Strong relationships are the key. The harder you work, the luckier you get. Your business and your brand must first let people know what you care about and that you care about them. I try to learn from the past, but I plan for the future by focusing exclusively on the present. Focus is essential to success, and successful people are people who can focus. That you have to leave your comfort zone. Be open to new information and ideas. Always think positively and expect the best. Stay confident even when something bad happens. It is just a bump in the road. It will pass. The more people tell you it's not possible, that it can't be done, the more you should be absolutely determined to prove them wrong. Treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation. Well, you know, I love to read. Actually, I'm looking at a book, I'm reading a book, I'm trying to get started. Where there's a will, there's a way. You don't reward failure by promoting those responsible for it, because all you get is more failure. The future does not belong to those who believe in socialism. The future belongs to those who believe in freedom. Make every day extraordinary no matter what your job is. That if you try once, you should try again. Keep that focus exactly where it should be, on winning. Following your convictions means you must be willing to face criticism from those who lack the same courage to do what is right. It's called the road less traveled. Even as entrepreneurs, we rely on people to get things done. We may have the original idea, but moving it forward can involve hundreds of people. Every person becomes integral to the overall success. Most of them have gotten really good at saying absolutely nothing. They've all got some kind of program, but when you listen to them, you still don't know what they're talking about. It's always good to be underestimated. I found that people work harder when they are held accountable, and their confidence level rises along with that. We believe in the American dream, not in the socialist nightmare. Nothing worth doing ever came easy. You have to know how to defend yourself. The future belongs to the dreamers, not to the critics. The future belongs to the people who follow their heart, no matter what the critics say, because they truly believe in their vision. You will be attacked for trying to change anything. The worst thing you can possibly do in a deal is seem desperate to make it. Once you focus on your life's objectives, you need to focus on your instructors to make sure they are qualified to teach you what you want to know. They should have already been where you want to go and have lived to tell about it. Use your work to better yourself. But I'm a businessman and I learned a lesson from that experience. Good publicity is preferable to bad. But from a bottom line perspective, bad publicity is sometimes better than no publicity at all. Controversy, in short, sells. You must work on improving your skills every day and never quit. Operate your day-to-day business as if bad times are always here, which is a great precaution. Now people matter. People must work together for a company to thrive. I only work with the best. Nothing is easy, but who wants nothing? No one has ever achieved anything significant without a chorus of critics standing on the sidelines explaining why it can't be done. Demand the best from yourself and be totally unafraid to challenge entrenched interests and failed power structures. Relish the opportunity to be an outsider. Embrace that label. Emerson's quote, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." Sometimes you have to toot your own horn because nobody else is going to do it. An entrepreneur's ability to find strength when others want to run, hide, quit, or blame someone else for their failures. Make America great again.